Hi and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me today. So I'm going to show you how I take a Costco chicken, make a couple meals out of it, and really waste nothing, not even the carcass. So I just finished making a chicken salad, really big batch. I usually do this about once a week, but sometimes I get sick of the salad. And then you have this carcass left. Instead of wasting it, what I like to do is make a chicken bone broth. Now, I'm not above buying bone broth. Like, for example, this is a really good beef bone broth, and I get it when it's on sale. But if it's not on sale, it's like $7. Do I buy it for $7 sometimes? Sure, it's really good. But I love to save money, and I don't like to waste. So let's make a chicken bone broth with the rest of this carcass. And then, usually in the freezer, I have a bag of vegetable scraps. I used that last week, and I ran out, so I just grabbed some vegetable scraps from the fridge. So I have a little bit of celery, some parsley, I grabbed a garlic clove, and then this sad little onion. So that's gonna add some really good flavor to this chicken bone broth. Now, you do need a little bit of time for this. So if you're gonna be home, you can just throw this on the stove on the weekend, kind of babysit it for a couple hours. If you're not home, I've never done this, but I know that certain people will do this in the Instant Pot, which I don't have, or a slow cooker. So you could, leave the house and not worry about burning the house down with a bone broth on the stove. All right, so let's get started. We need a big stock pot. I don't have one of those, so I'm going to use the next best thing. And you know what? I think I'll use my big Dutch oven. I love that thing. Into this pot, we're just gonna throw this whole carcass. Now, make sure to get that string that usually is on those Costco chickens. You don't want to have that be part of your flavor profile. Now, if you see this like gelatinous type structure on the chicken, don't be afraid of that. That is actually really good collagen. So that stuff's good for your hair, your skin, your nails. Keep that in there. And we're gonna drain all these bones and the skin later on, so don't worry about that. All right, so nothing has to be pretty. Again, we're just using the strained liquid at the end. So I break up the vegetables just a little bit. Get those aromatics going. Parsley. I usually have carrots in the fridge, but I didn't this week. Now, if you wanted to switch this up, like you could put cilantro in here and like a jalapeno. If you wanted to make maybe like a Mexican soup that's spicy later on in the week. There are really no rules. That's the beauty of making one of these. Okay, so now we're gonna use a little bit of fresh ground pepper. And just a tiny bit of salt, like a pinch of salt, because in the past, I've over salted, and then you're left with this like really salty stock. Remember, you can always add salt later on. I'm using Redmond's salt, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of white pepper too. If you've never cooked with white pepper, really elevates things. Highly suggest getting some. Okay, now we just need to pour some filtered water over this and turn it on and kind of let it sit. All right, so cover that whole chicken with some filtered water. I'm sure there are much more creative ways to use a Costco chicken, but I still can't believe they're $4.99. They feed me for a few days for lunch, and then they make these really good stocks. Time to turn this on, let it sit, and make the house smell so good. It's only been about an hour, and the broth is already looking really rich. I'm gonna leave it on for about another hour. Time to take out vegetables and the chicken and the bones. I'm just gonna grab the big pieces, and then I'll use a sieve to strain all those fine bits out. Oh, this broth looks so flavorful. The color is like a deep caramel brown. And this was just on the stove for, I don't even think, 2 hours. This is super hot. Let's put this in some mason jars and let it cool before I put it in the fridge. So if you're gonna use it this week, throw it in the fridge. If you're not sure if you'll use it, in the next 5 days, I recommend putting it in the freezer and then thawing it when you're ready to use. Now, before you put this stock into this glass bowl, I recommend letting it cool a little bit and I've made the mistake in the past of just putting it directly in the glass bowl and then the glass bowl is shattering because the liquid is so hot. So be like me, learn from my mistakes, please. So if you're gonna freeze these, I recommend leaving a little bit of space in the jar as the liquid will expand as it freezes. So you don't want it to explode in your freezer and create a bigger mess than you need. I'm gonna throw these in the fridge and maybe make something good this weekend, like some sort of soup. It's getting cold here, so it's that time of year where it's really nice to have like a homemade bone broth, chicken stock, whatever you wanna call this, right in your freezer or your fridge. So there's so many different ways that I use bone broth at home. Obviously, I use it for soup, or it's even good to sip on with your meal. So it can add a little bit of extra protein to your breakfast, lunch, dinner, or it's just gonna be comforting to sip on during these colder months. If there's a way that you really like to use bone broth at home, comment below. I'm always looking for new ideas on how to cook simple things. It really helps my channel if you hit like, and if you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so if you like to cook simple, healthy, homemade meals at home. All right, until next time, and have a great week.